To share a topic about SQLAlchemy ORM and Flask. I was wrong, and thank you. First of all, we have to outline about simple recap about object-oriented programming (OOP), and then introduce the concept of ORM, and then we will have some composition between the SQL and SQLAlchemy, the source code, and then finally we want to explain a bit about the relationship, but we have another lecture specialized to create the database structure, for example, one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many on top of SQLAlchemy. And and the diagram is quite straightforward. You see that if you're writing your source code in class style and then inheritance of something from SQLAlchemy, you are able to generate SQL statement to manipulate or create your database. Actually, it support all kind of database engine. For example, you can just write single type of source code in Python, and then you can handle Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL, Evo, and SQLite, and this is quite convenient and straightforward for you to use ORM from all of your development cycle. And the logic is that you just need some basic knowledge on Flask and Python 3.6 or higher. And first of all, we will a bit recap on object-oriented OOP, and then you need to have a review of the class creation and then the concept of object. And now we would like to define a class, a so-called a freight for the for the plane, for the passenger on something. You got some relationship you want to store into the in Python style. This is the basic definition of Python classes. For example, here, but this is not on the old syntax one. As you know, if you're using the latest version of Python, you have a data classes. Data classes can be simplified. The definition is much shorter than this style, but we just want to expand the concept here, so we make use of the classical or older style of Python classes. First of all, you need to have a constructor, so-called the initialization part. When you create a object from a class here, a object is inside memory, something real you can consider that. But the class is a template. You use a template to create something from like a cake. You create a template to put it in the template, and then copy the class. The class is the template, and the cake is the object. And there is three data field here. For example, origin, destination, and duration. You have this data structure to store your data, but we ignore the behavior here. And for example, you need to know the definition of classes. You need to have constructor. Constructor is the initial function. The init function is the case that when you load something, it will call this function for the basic setup or initialization of your variable. And you need to put some argument. This is mandatory or required in your program, and we will so call this properties and store into a dot notation here. This is a property origin, destination, and duration. This is something required for the field, required for this object. If you can't ignore the origin, destination, and duration for your system. And for the programming for style, you just straightforward. You create a flight, and then we can ignore the key here. This is so called the field name and the field name and the value field and value. But for the with the more readable for your source code and some guideline in some coding guideline. We are prefer you are also mention the field name here so that you can have the concept with price, origin, price, destination, flight duration. Otherwise, the user need to review your source code before they know this is origin or destination. Since you need to guess this origin first or destination first, it's not you will not so readable for you. Okay, and you can train the value of your duration by incremental 10 delayers. So just at 10, and then you can retrieve or get better value by the dot notation of your car of your object. And here is the f is just something like the class object, and then you can just use this something immediately like character there, and then you have some function data. And method is a you can create some method. Method it means the behavior or something the object should be able to do, for example, is you have the ability to pin itself, to pin the information. You just define the logic here is just pin out the right origin, destination, duration. When you call the pin info, it will run all the programming logic here. And if you want to know more about the OOP or in Python, please retrieve our another lecture about the OOP in Python. And you can have a lot of method. For example, you can delay, just straightforward. Don't put the plus here. You just put the delay and then the logic here, and then you can allow you can apply delay prepinting. This is something called method. Then the design is that the objects need to do something. It should be able to do it. You will define a method for it. For example, delay pin information is something the flight object behavior. So it should able to do it. And passenger, you have another case is passenger here. You just quite simple. Just keep the name, and then the logic. If you take down the source code previously, the background type on here, you can have the. But we just ignore the source code. This is in other lecture we have more detail about the class design. But for the flight and the passenger, you can have create some passenger, and then flight you create an add passenger method. Inside the add passenger method, actually we have a list of a list of the passengers. It's a list inside the flight classes, but here we ignore the source code and then you add it, and then finally you can pin the information. Here is the recap of Python classes, and then now we move to the another session is about the object relational mapper. And first of all, the ORM, the idea is that you allow users the OOP concept of in Python to and then combination of the relational database SQL, just try to combine two things together automatically. And then OOP plus SQL is ORM. With ORM, you just need to define your Python classes, methods, and object, and become the interaction. You can do the interacting with your SQL database. You can do everything. If you are very confident on using this ORM, you can ignore all the SQL statement in creation and you trust it, and then if you can ignore all SQL statement. It will generate everything for you. But for the Flask, this is a special package called Flask SQLAlchemy. This is a wrapper of SQLAlchemy. Okay, wrapper of SQLAlchemy, and it is a bit enhancement and automation for you to connect your database from Flask. And there's some discussion between different users. Some users say that, oh, the Flask SQLAlchemy do some automation for you, but you are not able to customize something. And some of the developers say that, oh, I prefer to use SQLAlchemy themselves instead of use Flask SQLAlchemy. There's a two-kind discussion. You need to review some forum discussion. But for the case here, we will show the SQLAlchemy. But if you see someone just directly call the SQLAlchemy instead of using Flask SQLAlchemy package, it is no special difference. It's very similar. You see the source code very similar. Just some handling on the commit of data is different. And OOP plus database SQL mapping, and then you just got your Python and SQL mapper. Yeah, mapping. For SQL, no more. We will try to use Python to do everything here. And the Flask SQLAlchemy is just a very simple introduction. It's just something you need to install it. If you create your Flask application by default, it will not have this package. Since your Flask is the minimal setup core, so it's just say have a core here, and then you need to install a package. So it's pip installs Flask SQLAlchemy, and then you can get the database capability, and then SQLAlchemy is a Python SQL tool in ORM, but it is a wrapper. And one Python class is mapped to one database table. But if you take a look into the advanced design, there will be some differences. For example, it will support some inheritance, single table inheritance, multiple table inheritance. You will have a bit difference here, but in general, one Python class, one database. Don't count for inheritance, okay? And for the SQLAlchemy, 3.x is mapped to Flask SQLAlchemy 2.x. As this is some changes from the quick review for myself. I haven't with the detail, very detailed, but in general, the database The class structure for creation database is different, but the query is very similar. We will so blow up the rest source code for you. Here's the target. We want to create a PostgreSQL for the table, PostgreSQL database. And then this is the ID 0. It means it will incremental one by new adding data, add one. And then the origin is the variable trust is string, but not now. Users always have the origin, always have the destination, also is English. And then is finally is have integer, not now for the duration, how long time that the flight required. And for the version 1, you need to first of all import the SQLAlchemy and then create your database context object. And then you create classes here. Just call the model. The model is the base class. There's a class here. db.class is a class. And inherit from it. You inheritance is a very powerful construct in object-oriented programming. When you inheritance from other classes, you got all the ability and feature and function from that classes. From now, you inherit the db.model. You become a database OR mapper. Your class become OR mapper. You will be able to create SQL for you without any special code writing. Just define your structure here. You see the source code is quite explanatory. You just write the db dot column is column, and then integer column, and then primary key true is primary key, and then origin you just told the is a db column, and then it's a string. But you can also mention the length of the string, but here just ignore it. You just review the document. You can have the length of the string, not just infinitely long, and also not now, double false is not now, and then column is integer, and then you got a passage. But here's the simplified version behind the scene. You need to read another lecture about the database model design. We will have foreign key constraint, association, definition, explanation in another lecture. But here is we just ignore the foreign key, and then we got the passenger. Passenger is we still have you still have the foreign key, but we ignore the association, so that you can program it differently. You can join table faster. But here is ignored, and you just ID name, and then the foreign key constraint is an integer. Point to the table, flight ID column, and then notable is false. And for the latest version is so-called this mapping is at FlashAlchemy 2.x. It will map to SQLAlchemy 3.x, 2.x, and 3.x. Latest version or newer version in here we will mention new or mean the run, and then to here. And for the latest version you need to divide the base classes. This is inherit from the decorative braces we import here, and then we will very similar. Just create table and then have the mapping, but the column here is no longer so-called db column. It's just since we have the inheritance, we just use it so gonna map that column here the classes, and then the name is here. The type become a type inference definition. Okay, type inference definition in Python. This is so-called map that, and the integer map that string map that string method integer, and then you can have we have more definition here, so we fix the string length to 15. Okay, to 15, and here's the table of right, and then the parsing you also call we inherit from base class, and the very similar definition for foreign key constraint. We just foreign key and then the flight ID, and you see the definition is very similar and a bit shorter and cleaner in the syntax here for the latest version, for the new version. For the older version, just has you inherit from db.model. From the latest version, you need to create a base class. Base class inherited to the decorative base, and then just pass in here. Or maybe you can directly do it, but it's recommend you create a base class. And table name you define here. But for the case of plural form or single form, it depends on the version. Some version, the overall version will plural form. The latest version suggests singular form. And also depend on the company. Since here you mentioned here, plural form or single form is finally will become your database SQL schema. Some company will tell you that table name always in plural. Some company will tell you that it does not matter. It depends on your company naming guideline. And here you see the source code is just like that. And for compare between the create properties, just here, if you want to not notable, by default is not notable for the new version or version, and just forward the other table. And if you want to have the nullable column, for example, nullable, you see the definition nullable. It is empty. There's a nullable. It's not here. If you have this design and you just put another decorated class, generic class, sorry, the generic field to wrap the type here is so-called optional. Optional, it means nullable. Optional is not necessary. It is nice to have. And then you can have optional in Python nullable definition of your column. Okay, for more detail, please retrieve another lecture called Object-Oriented Programming for Database in Python. And here is more example about the definition. We just recap the source code. Is just what we show you before. The new version is right hand side. The old version here, it is quite straightforward. Just column by column, primary key, primary key, primary key, and then not the origin. Yeah, you can just review yourself. Is quite simple. And then when you divide a table, you just follow the document or follow some example, and then you can divide your database very easily. And for the creation of the table, you need to call the db.createAll in the old version. For the latest version, you based on metadata to create all in your Flask application. You start your Flask application, and then you just call them all SQLAlchemy application. After you config everything well, and then you run your Python, you run this source code. And for insert statement, we will just create an object, something very similar to OOP. Okay, just OOP. You create an object and then add into the DB section. This is Flask. Okay, for Flask, we will DB section.add. For SQLAlchemy, we start direct SQLAlchemy, a bit different syntax, but also add the object here and just create object, add it into the memory. But remember, we will have another slide later. You add it into the database, you need to commit it, but here it's just tell you it enter the buffer. Okay, in the buffer is the memory, in the RAM, and then finally you add something, do something, modify something, and then finally you need to commit to save it. But here it just told you that the syntax is in the memory is like that. You don't have to care about the SQL statement. It will generate it automatically for you. Also, query, you want to get all, selecting select star, and just create all. You got all the fetch information. And you want to have some filtering, you just dot filter by, and then set the column for Paris. Select row Paris. You just doing the syntax like that, and then get all of the data from Paris. It will be generate this SQL statement. And then you also need to limit. This is quite important for pagination. You need to page 1, page 2, page 3 in your system, and you are not possible to load all of the data from your database. It will crash your database if you always select all data there from your table. So we normally will limit, for example, just one record. Okay, one record is first, and if you need more record, you will have the limit is give it a number, or there's some extension here. You just auto type the dot, and then your Visual Code will give you recommendation. And for count, this is just want to number row, and you want to have different effort. For example, average, count, maximum, minimum. You just type in a dot, and then it will auto complete to give you the suggestion for you. And also we can have having group by anything. We can filter the first, just ID here, and then the first, you will get the first object. This is very different. You call the first and all is different. If you call the all, you will get a list of objects. But you call the first, you will get a single object. Okay, it's different. When you're writing the program, you will return a list for you and return a single object for you. The handling is different. Okay, and then the first it will return one. Also, you see this sentence is very common in your database. Okay, very common. Most of the database query is by ID. Yeah, if you have experience in doing web development or system development programming, you will always select where ID equal is the most common query. There's a reason why there's a shortcut for you. You just have a shortcut for you, so get, and then the primary key. Get, this is the primary key. This is integer, then integer. This is string, then string, and you just get it. Call the primary key to extract it. This is the shortcut. And okay, you can have not equal. Just in Python, you could just write anything style. It's just in Python. You're not equal. You just have a exclamation mark here, and then part, and then call it all, and then select for you. And filter is no difference with filter. And you also can have like, but for like, you need to call the wrapper from SQLAlchemy. You extract the operator so-called like here, and then the field name origin. Okay, to you flight origin like is a very simple Angular. And then if you type auto complete in your IDE, you give you the auto complete for this kind of query. And then you can have in query. In query is very important for the user interface, especially when you have user interface multiple trackball. Okay, different trackball. You can track multiple city, and then you could use in query will be very this is effective way to query the database in this of many and query straightforward in query. And also we can end or not everything. You just have the and operator. You just write two condition query here, just like before, about the origin of Paris, and then duration is longer than 500, and then get it out. And or query, just replace the n here, become the or, and then you get the or query. And finally, we can join table. So this join table is quite straightforward. You can just this is the case that instead of you don't have foreign key. Okay, you have foreign key, but you didn't define the association. You need to have this query method. But if you have defined the association, we mentioned in other lecture, you can just dock the flight, query the flight, and then dock it, and then we will create a join query for you. But if you just want to query two table, you just define the inner join on the column ID, flight ID, and then all. It's supposed to have the foreign key constraint, but you do this kind of theory, it doesn't not matter. It just help you to create this statement here. For more, you need to read on the SQLAlchemy document. SQLAlchemy document is a lot of example for you, especially when you update, you define the association join table is even more simplified and easier. And it is very powerful to handle relationship, and then you can have many tables join together, and then just dock a single line statement will generate a lot of multiple join table statement for you as well. And for example, this is the version 1 sample. If you have defined a relationship, for example, passengers is a passenger, the back field is a flight field, and then lazy loading true is implied it will join immediately instead of you query and then load the database again. And this is the example of setting relation. After you setting the relationship, you can call the program quite simple. You get a flight. You, for example, get the flight from the by ID, get flight through the ID one, and then all the passenger. You just dock it. You get the passenger from your from the database. It is much simpler than this one. Okay, this one is the complicated one. After you define the relationship, you can call the program in this style. And but here we ignore the definition of query. But you can take a look for that. This time we're using ORM concept, and yeah, we change the definition, or assume we have changed the definition of the ORM database with this column. Okay, this column is extra column in the flight table. In the flight table, we add this line. After we add this line, we are able to do something like that. You get all the passenger from flight ID run, and the first query here, the flight ID one is the first part, the beginning, and then call the second one, you will get the passenger, another SQL statement for you, the flight ID from passenger. Yeah, it's already how you doing that. And you can filter, you can passenger filter by Alice, and then his first. Oh, since the system assume the system only one Alice, okay, only one Alice, and the Alice flight you will generate this SQL statement. You will help you join the flight and join the passenger on this ID, and then set up the filter. You see, it's quite beautiful of the syntax. And update statement is simple. You just get the object out by ID or by list, whatever. Any method you query something from the database, it will have the hidden connection in between your Python object and database. When you modify the object in Python, it means in the memory, in the RAM. When you commit the file, you commit your database section, you commit db section, you commit, it will detect the change of the object. It will always monitor the change of your object in your memory, and then it will generate a SQL statement to synchronize the change of the object in your memory into the database. And here is the flight run, and then you just modify the flight, get it out, and then set it longer time, and then finally it will generate a SQL statement to the database. But here is not yet save the database. We need to commit it. Finally, the last action is delete. Delete is simple. You just get the object out and then call the delete. It will delete. Okay, but remember, this is will delete in the memory, not yet to the database. And if you want to have the you insert update delete, okay, insert update delete, you have this kind of database modification, you need to commit. You commit, it means the SQL statement they generate previously just keep into the memory, and then commit. It will run it. It will run it. It will tell you that it is a success or not. If success, it will, all the statement will success. If fail, all the statement will fail and then roll back. Yeah, but sorry, it may not be rollback. You need to enable transaction, okay? But not every time you enable transaction, it depends on your need or not. But the case is commit, it means run the SQL statement. If you don't commit the section, the insert, update, and delete will not be executed. Okay, will not be executed. You need to make sure you don't forget to commit. And this is the difference part between the SQLAlchemy and the Flask SQLAlchemy. Uh, the user in Flask SQLAlchemy, if you're using the default setup, it will help you to commit your database SQL statement after every web request. This is the default behavior. If you're using SQLAlchemy directly, SQLAlchemy not don't know about the web, don't know about the Flask, is ignore it. You need to manually to commit your database section. This is the reason why. Oh, if you want to have more control on your database, you will use SQLAlchemy yourself. If you want to save some save some coding time, save some source code, will save type less. You use Flask SQLAlchemy. And you can have sorting. It's quite simple. Order by. You can generate the order by statement for you. And by descending here, order by the column name with descending function, it will generate the descending for you. And now you have this pattern after the combination of several lecture. You learn about the Flask. Flask is the, we will so called the model view controller. The controller pattern is just handle the logic, and then your view is generate the HTML, JavaScript, CSS, so that the browser load will basis on the view to have the output, the display for your user. And then finally you got the model. Normally we're talking about map of the database to the model is related to data, and then we will use SQLAlchemy to control or modify to handle the data mapping to the real data, to the database behind the scenes. Okay, thank you very much.